Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video. It is time for a most carried video. It's been a while since I've done this, so I thought it doesn't hurt to stop and kind of reflect back over the last month or two and think about what I've been carrying most and why I find those really compelling and why I've been enjoying them. The first thing I'm going to throw in here is the tactile turn bolt action pen. This is in my pocket most days, not every single day, because there are some days where I know, I'm not going to want this pen, but if I can at all justify it, this is the pen that goes in my pocket. I absolutely love this. The only thing I changed was these come with the Pilot G2 insert, which I like, but I switch it to the fine insert. So I think that's 0.38 mil instead. So now that let's get that out of the way, and we'll come back and work our way through these knives. We'll talk a little bit about each one as we go, why I like it, what is it that, why I end up carrying that knife over various other options. And let's move everything out of the way and land first of all on this Vincent Lessard Warlock. So we've got a small EDC style fixed blade here. I've been mostly carrying it just dropped in my pocket. I had a clip on it, but I took it off. I go back and forth when I'm with small fixed blades like this. I really do go back and forth a lot between, sometimes I carry it with a clip. Sometimes I take the clip off. Just kind of depends on what mood I'm in, but it does work pretty well. Just dropped into the pocket. And so that's sort of how I've been mostly carrying it lately. I carry this when I want something good, but something that I don't mind beating on a little bit, hiking, walking, taking the dog out, going for a bike ride, those kinds of things. I'll often drop this in my pocket or in a pouch on my backpack, and that'll be my go-to knife. It's a great size. It's comfortable. It's very EDCable. It's not going to upset anyone if you bring this knife out and do some cutting with it. No one cares. It's also extremely well made. It's comfortable in hand. So yeah, all around, this knife is absolutely great. If you have the opportunity to get something from Vince, he does have a smaller knife as well that, might be more EDC friendly for some of you who want something really small, almost like neck knife size, and certainly would drop in pocket even easier. For me, those small neck knives or those small fixed blades, the really small ones just don't get carried at all. So this was the obvious choice, and Vince did a great job with it. So that's the first up on what's been in my pocket. And I'm fortunate to live in an area of the world where I get to spend a lot of time outside, and when I'm doing that, a nice small fixed blade is a huge winner. Since we're on the fixed blade theme, there's another one that gets in my pocket a ton, the Kizer Harpoon. Obviously, this is not a custom, it's a budget fixed blade, but it works really well. And I have to say, even though I like the Warlock a lot, this approach to an EDC fixed blade is my favorite approach, where we shrink the handle down a little bit, we get lots of blade, and we sort of, push the fingers up into the blade and put a nice spot out here for the thumb, so that even though the handle's a little bit small, the ergonomics still end up working out and giving me tons and tons of cutting power. So yeah, the Kizer Harpoon, huge win. That's it's weird that these two are the two most carried fixed blades that I have. They're both on the small side. They're both EDCable, but they could not be more different. Like, we've got a custom and a budget production knife. Nonetheless, they both work really well for me, and they're easy recommends. What about folders? I do want to bring in one knife. I should have a review coming of this sometime fairly soon. This is the Lionsteel LE1. So you can kind of see how it spells lion there, and it's kind of shaped like a claw. You get that. But I said when I gave my first impressions on this that I would go out of my way to carry it a lot, to use it a lot, to try and get a sense for whether or not this thing had any practical value. And I have to say, using this as your EDC knife, opening packages with it, cutting the milk bags open with it, doing a little bit of wood carving stuff with it, it works fine. It's essentially like a knife with a bit of a recurve on it. I will say this about carrying this all the time, and this will come up again in the review. Whenever I try, you've got to work on it a little. You've got to practice a little getting this to consistently flip out of the pocket. Now, most of the time when I'm carrying this, I don't want that. I want to just extract it, open it quietly, and make the cut I've got to make and move on. The other thing is, I haven't bothered to remove the flipper. It works fine. So if I was annoyed by the flipper, or if it was getting in the way, I might remove it, but I don't know, seems okay. So yeah, I have been using this. I have been carrying it, and it's not that bad. I'm not going to start EDCing a karambit because, a karambit is intended for a specific purpose that I just don't have. Like, I don't need to be able to defend myself. I don't need a purely defensive knife. That's just not something that is important to me, and so I probably won't be switching to like a karambit review channel or anything like that. But nonetheless, I have used this. I have enjoyed it, and to me, the design was pretty compelling, and some of the features were pretty compelling, and they still are. Sticking with stuff that's a little odd, perhaps, maybe a little outside of the ordinary. Spyderco Swayback. My son picked this up the other day and was like, "Dad, why is this knife backwards? It should be, the blade should be over here and the knife should be over here. But this is a Swayback, and he's not familiar with the Swayback design. It's there's a lot of things. One, I like the fact that this knife is just a little bit different. All right. But it's not so different that it's annoying. All right. It's still easy to carry. It's still highly effective as a cutting tool. By the way, the blade here is still the thing that gets me most excited. So we've got CTS XHP with this great hollow grind. And this is just a slicing machine. It cuts so well, and that's one of the things that makes me love it, in addition to the rather unique styling. All right, so Spyderco Swayback. It's also really light. I carry this a lot of times on Sundays when I'm wearing like dress pants or whatever for preaching. Works fantastic. Now let's keep going here. Since we had sort of a higher end offering, let's continue with that. The Riat Torrent. This has probably been in more of these videos than any other knife. I've had this as long as anything. Trying to think if there's anything I've had in my collection longer. Not much. Probably the Para 2, which is also on the list. This Para 2 is done with sharp dress knives scales and an MXG clip. I absolutely love it. It's it's S45 VN. Just happened to bring these two up because these two, I think, have been around. I have a couple other knives that are standards in my collection that will never go, that I've had for a long time. I haven't happened to carry. I don't happen to have any of them for this particular video, but these are huge wins for me, and they're just knives that I love and carry all the time. Now, thinking of knives that I love and carry all the time, I want to bring in a knife that is a bit of a surprise to be on this list. This is the Kizer Cormorant. It's new. It's ridiculous looking, but it is so good. It's comfortable in hand. It's grippy. The blade is phenomenal. We've got this hollow grind on 3V steel, and the other thing about this knife is it is the flippingest knife you've ever seen. It is the most fidget-friendly knife you could imagine. Kizer has really done a great job with this. I even now, still, as I look at it, I go, that is one ugly-looking knife, but I carry it a lot. Anytime I've got like track pants on, or those lightweight sort of Under Armour, I don't know what you call them. I think they were splash pants when I was a kid, but whatever, those kind of lightweight pants, I'll pick up the Cormorant and carry it because it's just really comfortable and lightweight, and you barely even notice it. So yeah, this one gets a lot of carry time. Couple other things to share with you here. We're almost getting to the end. Another Spyderco on the list. This, of course, is my Manix 2 lockback. The Manix 2 is a great knife in general, and this is by far my favorite version. It feels so good in hand. It's a little on the small side for me, but oh man, this knife is so practical. It cuts well, it carries easily, and it feels absolutely perfect in hand. All right, I'm going to try to move a little faster because we're getting a little long in the tooth here. So Benchmade, Super Freak. I did that video on Benchmade a couple of days ago where I was complaining because they are kind of idiots and they're suing Rogue Blade Works, which I was pretty sad to see. Anyway, they're suing them over a specific knife. It wasn't all the knives. Nonetheless, I thought it was a poor business decision. But having said that, I still love the Benchmade Super Freak. It is one of the all-time greats that are out there. Couple more knives, one that's fairly new, but one that I've been fairly impressed with. This is, of course, the Dam Design. Which one is this? The Yuki or something like that. Anyway, sorry for not getting the name. I'll throw it in a comment afterward. But this is one of those knives where I'm just super impressed by it. I've really enjoyed having this, carrying it, using it. Very enjoyable, very satisfying knife. And I look forward to checking out a few more things from Damn Designs. Let's finish it off with a budget knife. And this is a budget knife that has been a staple on the channel for a long time. This is the Lionsteel H6. If someone wants just a cheap functional knife, this is one of my most recommended knives. It is so well done. There are a lot of things I like about it, not the least of which is the price, but the materials are great, the ergonomics are great, the toughness is great. So just a practical budget folder, and I throw this in my pocket a lot of times when I just don't know what to expect, where I don't think, maybe I'm going outside or maybe I'm going to be working around the yard. I don't want a knife that I could, damage or anything like that, so I'll throw this in my pocket and just never have to worry about it. So there you go, guys. Those are the knives that have been in my pocket most often over the last month and a half or so. I'll try to do another one of these again about that time, so maybe sometime mid or the end of September. We'll talk to you soon.